We are live. We'll, usually takes we're about 8 seconds behind when we do this. So the live gets out to the people about 8 seconds after we say whatever we say.
Okay.
And Matt, we're both in the automotive aftermarket industry. Mainly off-roading.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. In our day jobs.
Okay.
Bill works for Quadratech, and
I'm the product development engineer for Quadratech.
Okay.
The guy.
Well, we've sold through Quadratech for, probably 20 years plus.
Yeah,
I would say.
Just a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
one of our better dealers, I will say that.
Yeah, so I mean, we definitely have the reach to a lot of Jeep customers. So, and you guys have a lot of Jeep specific conversions, which is awesome. I was looking through your complete offering list, and I was quite impressed of what you guys do and how you guys go about everything. So,
yeah, it's very cool.
But we'll definitely dive more into that as we get the show going.
Oh, what's up, Mike? Hey, Troy. It's always Mike first, always, and then Troy second, and then the rest of the world kind of follows behind. Mm-hmm. It's slow today.
Yeah, I figured with the holidays and everything coming up, it's going to be a little slower.
So I did a video shoot. Earlier today.
Of what?
Some dude he does.
Some dude? You did a video shoot of some dude? That's really interesting, Terry.
Some guy. He's got a video studio, but he also does body work and stuff like that.
Okay.
But anyway, he got one of the very first racetrack lights from Oracle and redid the entire rear end of a Gladiator.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I was able to be on hand as the subject matter expert
and
do the install.
Yeah,
it was very, very cool.
There you go. Definitely interesting there.
Yeah, it was, since there are 2 known in the wild right now.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah. What, do we have a mouse?
No.
Do you hear it?
And Matt's not moving. I mean, he's blinking, but we shouldn't hear that.
It's you. How is it you?
No, it's not.
Oh, let's do this. Check your mic.
I'm not
No, talk to your mic.
Check 1 2
All
1
right,
2
cool.
1 2.
Is it we hear it, right?
I hear it.
I don't know. There's a mouse somewhere. I don't see any movement that.
It's not in either one of our mics. It's something in.
Oh, is it in here? Yeah, it's something in the phone connection.
That's weird.
It is weird.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. All right, we're gaining on some people. We're still a little bit less than what we normally would have live, but I'm sure people will join us because
Yes, as always.
7:30 is about our live time. So
We're a little early, normal.
yeah, how do we end up
How do we-
early this
yeah,
time?
This is unheard of.
All right, we'll give everybody one more minute to get on and share it out.
Jump on here.
Get some people in, but then we'll just rock it out.
Mhm. Interesting.
Oh, I'm excited. We actually have people that have sent in their shops.
I know.
Yeah, we're getting a plethora,
We're building up.
We're
some,
building
we're
up.
building up a few.
so we'll be good for a few shows.
Maybe.
Maybe, who knows? Let me see if I can get Matt more in the center. Nope.
Very interesting.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and go because I'm an impatient kind of guy.
Yeah.
I got things to do, people to see.
I know you. No, you don't.
No, I don't. You're right.
we bring each other back down to the earth. Matt.
We both need that.
Let me tell you, we ground ourselves.
Well, everyone, we're lucky to have not in the studio with us per se, but joining via the internet with technology. We're able to do anything.
And somehow it's all working.
And it's all
for us.
now you've jinxed it for us. But on the other end, we have Matt Howell from Howell EFI. Matt, how you doing?
Good guys. Glad you could have me on.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you on. I know we've been trying to make this happen for a while with schedules and everything, so it's good to have you on.
Mm-hmm.
I know Bill is. I use Bill because he's brilliant, he's smart, and he knows things.
I don't know much about this subject, so that's why we brought an expert on.
I know. So and I'm the face of the operation. Really, I'm the good looks. He's the brains.
Gotcha.
No, neither.
Yeah.
Neither are either.
So, Matt, tell us a little bit about who.
Well, hold on.
All right.
So it's in the name. Howell
it is in the name.
EFI.
Yeah.
So EFI.
I would say electronic fuel injection.
There you go.
All right. See, I do know things.
You know one thing about one thing. All right, now let Matt take it away.
Matt, who are you, and how did this all start?
You want to go back to the very beginning, the roots of
Well,
this whole crazy. Okay.
We're going there.
Yeah. Well, we've actually been at it for 35 years this year.
Woo.
Believe it or
Wow.
not.
That's longer than you.
That's impressive. That's longer than me. Yes.
It's long. It's been a long term. It's been great from day one, but it's a business my father and I started. It's one of those started in the basement kind of deals. My dad was a GM engineer, and actually not in the electrical side of things, but he was in the, at the time, called the product promotion group at GM over at the tech center, involved with the racers directly.
Oh,
I mean,
That's cool.
The Roger Penske's at the young stage starting out. I mean, from the Junior Johnson, Foyt. I mean, Chevrolet was basically not supposed to be in racing, but they were. It was a lot of backdoor programs. So he was involved with that, and as a kid into cars, into racing. I mean, it was a dream come true. I went to the races when I could walk. I was at the races, and at the time, GM was doing some early retirement stuff in the 80s, and he said, well, this is an opportunity to do something else. I think I was 21 at the time. I was an entrepreneurial type individual as a kid. I always had businesses going, and I thought, well, we'll do this. We decided to do this together, and pooled our resources. And actually, at the time, GM was doing a lot of interesting fuel injection. Came out in the OEMs about 85, and out at the tech center, they were dropping tune ports into Monzas, Vegas. I mean, just weird combinations. And he went to them and said, well, I'm going to retire. Is GM ever going to get into, maybe that end of things? And they said, no, but, feel free, have fun with it. We don't want anything to do with that because of the emissions, because of the, federal oversight potential there. So he kind of saw a niche for, people transplanting these fuel injected engines into older vehicles. They were just going to, he thought they were just going to start doing that. So we started, like I say, started in 88 in the basement. We had a hot rod feature article done on us about 6 months in.
Ooh.
And we were working from my childhood home, same phone number I grew up with, appears in Hot Rod Magazine in May of 88. And let's just say Mom was not happy.
Oh, I'm sure.
That phone started to ring off the hook at all hours, night and day. And she said, you guys got to figure out how to get a building. If this thing is going to be going the direction I think it is, you guys are out of here. So from there, we were kind of off and running. And we started out doing the throttle body truck engines, and the tune ports were the two main fuel injected engines from GM at the time.
Okay.
And we started with about 3 designs of harnesses, and the response was positive. The guys, I think in the aftermarket at the time, there might have been 2 other companies that were doing it. I mean, we were kind of blazing new area there. The big companies at the time, Edelbrock, Holly, they really weren't diving into that on any level. It was too much, I think, a niche, a specialty type market. They didn't really see I don't think the potential there. But it grew from that. We supplied the computers with them, the fuel pumps, everything that guy would need to do a swap, to do a modern GM engine at the time into an older vehicle, an older Jeep, an older pickup, some boats, some marine stuff. And, really it started with the harnesses more than the kits were coming later. That was something that didn't develop until we actually had a guy approach us. He said, I'm a surplus buyer. I go into these GM plants and I buy out all this excess inventory. And at the time he had just pallets of throttle bodies that they really didn't run the plants as tight as they do now. So they get to the end of a model run, and I think at the time he had just hundreds of these brand new throttle bodies, which would have been late 80s, early 90s stuff. And we said, well, if we had the throttle body, then we already have the harness, the computer end of things. We really could offer this to a guy to put on really any carbureted engine out there.
Yeah.
Do the kit. The Jeep market was not at the forefront of that. We thought it would mainly be the small block Chevy guys, Ford guys, Chrysler. But we were approached by some 360 guys, some Wagoneer guys at the time to do a kit for us. I said, well, that won't be difficult based on what we're doing now.
Right.
So we did. And a little ways into that, the 258 guys said, what are you guys doing? There are way more of us out there. The 360 guys are fine. The 401 guys are fine. But why didn't you come out with a kit for the inline 6 first? Because you guys are missing the boat. And again, it was one of those situations where our customers really directed us to what we should be doing. So I will say when we got into the 258 inline 6 Jeeps, that really covers from the early 70s to the early 90s, that really as a kit, and still to this day, that's our biggest seller. And the fact that we went ahead during that process and got a California certification on all those kits, that was a game changer in and of itself.
Yeah, so CARB certification is one of the biggest things out on the market right now. I mean, dealing with EPA, CARB, California, the new 14 states that are moving to this new hybrid thing. If you don't have CARB, it's not even worth producing a product anymore.
Right.
So, like, going through your website and seeing that so much is carb certified is huge for the Jeepers. So it's very interesting. So you said you're an entrepreneur, not more of an engineer, or like how did this, I mean, you're born with a wrench in your hand. I can pick that up. But how did you just start? You just started pulling these pieces together, or?
Well, at the time of starting this thing, we really thought that I don't think we had any idea what level it would get to. I mean, quite honestly, I thought I'd gone to college and studied business, but I had a landscape company at the time. And I always joke around. I said I took a pay cut to start this gig. I was doing both. I was doing both at the same time because I had that business, and I grew up on the east side of Detroit. And I mean, I had like 200 accounts. I had guys working for me when I was quite young, and I just, I guess as far as running a business, I just did it. I didn't know any better. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I just kind of dove into things. And,
Right.
When we started the deal, the one thing we said was, we're really not going to start this business by going out and going to the bank and getting a couple $1,000,000 and saying, well, we hope it works. We're going to make this thing pay for itself from day one. And
Right.
if this thing can pay for itself, we'll see how it goes. We'll see if it can carry on, then and make a business of it. That would be great. But no, personally, I didn't have an engineering background. But one of my father's philosophies was if you start this job and you're around this for 90 days, you're going to know more about it than 98% of the people out there, just
Absolutely.
by sheer exposure. He used to say through osmosis, but that that was his approach to it. And I have a son now that's 18. Now he will be going to college. And I have 4 kids, 3 daughters that have gone different paths, but I'm kind of hoping that he can carry it on. He has shown some real interest in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we're hoping that is the future. But it really just started by about 3 different harness designs and hoping that the interest was there. It was a philosophy more or less that people would. And we were seeing it a little bit. Like I say, the tech center, GM was taking all these motors and they were throwing them in all these different cars, and the magazines were picking up on it.
Mm-hmm.
And once the magazines pick up on it and it starts a little fire in the West Coast, then, all of a sudden you have a trend.
right.
So that's really how it got rolling.
Well, yeah, I'm blown away by this.
Just 1 second.
Yeah.
Yep.
We might have to reconnect, Caitlin. Okay, I got some. But I'll just keep talking as long as
Yeah.
you can hear
I
me.
mean, absolutely. We can just keep this going. No big deal.
Yeah, but the other big factor that we wanted to do in this whole business was we wanted to utilize the GM controllers.
Okay.
Right.
We
So
wanted, I mean, basically, the aftermarket's approach to fuel injection from the get-go was always we're gonna produce our own computer. We're gonna produce something that we're going to do our own computer, and in most cases we're going to do a computer that can be manipulated by the customer, because we want to shoot this thing out into the aftermarket, the normal 3-tier markup.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we got to do a kit that fits everything from a 6-cylinder, mild 6-cylinder engine up to a blown big block. We're going to use the same kit. So we knew that was a disaster. But if we could use the GM controllers on our kits, and we do our own programming in-house, even up through we're doing as late as 2020 direct injected truck engine transplants, for instance.
Oh.
Yeah. I was looking through the website, and it is extensive.
And that was the other reason we were able to to actually even go and consider carb certification was because we had a computer that had a chip that we did. The customer couldn't manipulate that program in any way.
Yep.
And you can't take any of these modern systems that are on the market today where the customer can change the program. That they're not certifiable. You could never go through carb with something like that.
Right.
So that's a huge difference there. But that was a big thing we wanted. Basically GM has spent the resources that they have put into that controller and that system. I mean, it's not something the aftermarket could ever do. So it's a proven product.
Yeah, I mean, so looking through your website, HowellEFI.com is the website address.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I started out going through and I saw everything with Jeep, and digging into the first kit that comes up is for the CJ 4.2 liter, and like that is probably one of the most complete conversion kits that I've seen out on the market, from harness, a computer, in the actual throttle body member with the fuel injection in it.
Yep.
And I was just completely impressed. I mean, they're running O2 sensors. Everything's fully incorporated into that kit for a very reasonable price.
All right.
So I personally thought it was very reasonable. I mean, and just seeing different conversion kits out on the market, but then it didn't stop. Like, keep going. You got GM, LS, and that's where Matt was talking about coming more towards that newer transplant where you're taking that, everyday high, more powerful motors and putting them in older Jeeps.
Yeah.
So how did you guys kind of start going out about that? Because I see like GM, LS, LT, and that's more along the lines of swap harnesses, which is huge in kind of the buggy market, which that's where I sit, and I'm like drooling over here.
Well, that there's really two phases. Like I said, we started with the harness end of things that was strictly for the guy that's transplanting the factory fuel injected engine. Yeah. And with the tune port and the throttle body truck motors, that was the beginning of everything. And then we just carried that through. Basically, our main task was every time GM came out with a new variation of their fuel-injected car and truck engines, we always used to say it's a junkyard-driven business, because as soon as the guy gets the newest truck is on the roads, as soon as it's wrecked, someone's going to get the drivetrain out of it, and they're going to want to put it in something else.
Yep.
So there's the kit side of the business, and there's what we call the transplant side of the business. So it's more or less the challenge is just to keep up with the technology, and as the new engines come out and update, do the new harnesses. Lucky enough too, there's been companies out there like HP tuners and different people keep up with the software end of reprogramming the factory computer, which we also do that ourselves. And and like I say, that enables you to pretty much go out and buy. I mean, we do the Vortec engines, we do the LSs, of course, they just exploded in popularity.
Yes.
Up to the next generation of the direct injected truck engines, the LS3s, the LS7s, LS9s, the LSAs. One of the categories I'm amazed by is the number 8.1s that are out there. The guys that just want to put 8.1s in, you don't even think of them making that many 8.1s, let alone they're already available,
Yeah.
But we're doing a lot of 8.1s with the Allison transmissions into older, say, square body Chevys.
Yep.
That's a biggie. So
powerhouse motors. I mean, those that has power for days.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of times it's the market dictating to you what you should be doing, paying attention to.
Yeah.
But again, if you can, one of the biggest challenges as the motors get newer and newer, and of course the computers are much more capable, much more, involved with running so many more things, such efficiently. one of the biggest challenges is getting the components that the guys need correct. In other words, you guy gets an engine, maybe he didn't get the drive-by-wire pedal, maybe he didn't get the tach module, maybe he didn't get the oxygen sensors. It's critical to get all that stuff correct,
Yes.
or as a package for his transplanter, he's going to have just a world of nightmares.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this completely because the thought, my engine's exactly the same engine that was in my vehicle when I bought it. But how many friends do I have that have actually done an LS swap in their Jeep or in their buggy? That tends to be the way to go, right? And
it is, but at the same time, it's one of the most daunting tasks that it's not like just swapping axles underneath something. Right. It's like, this is the main component is your harness, what you're putting in it, the computer, the tune, and like making sure everything works together. And oh wait, you got a transmission that it needs to communicate with too.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like that's one of the bigger things that I was looking on your website and seeing is that it is a lot of these are, transmission specific harnesses.
Yep. Well, with the 4L60s of the world, the 4L80s and the 8L90s now, in fact, we're just getting into the 10-speed stuff. And just to show you how the stuff has advanced, in fact, we just had to break the news to a guy this week that we couldn't do his 2021 with a 10-speed because he was kind enough to send us a factory harness. We looked it over, see how it compared to a 18 or 19, which we had done.
Right.
And there are just enough differences there where we had to tell him we're not there yet. But we did learn some valuable things from working with him. And one of them was that the newer transmissions, for instance, I think this was like I say, 2021 10-speed. The transmissions have a code on it now. So you have to know that code in order, and it's an external sticker on the transmission, as if things weren't hard enough. You got to know that code now to program the computer. Oh. Because if it's not the original computer, original engine, the whole thing together, it knows, and you're not going to go any farther. So it's constantly evolving and getting more complicated.
Now, I was actually going to ask that: are OEMs actually intentionally blocking the ability to do some of this, or is it just a compatibility programming issue?
I don't think the OEMs, with everything they have to deal with, I don't know that what crosses their minds is let's make it more difficult for the aftermarket. I don't know. You would think so when you're dealing with some of this stuff.
Right.
You would think so, man. You guys are evil. Yeah. But one of the things that we're biased, of course. We're GM based. When you look at our product line, we're very GM based, and I come from a GM family. But at the same token, when the GM stuff as a whole has been easier to work with. We did try years ago to get into the Ford engines a little bit, and everything was so restricted, even from the connectors to the just couldn't get anything. The programming, and I think that has an effect why you don't see Fords. They're not really putting anything. If you go out there and look at what the choice of engines is, it's really GM based. Yeah. I know we're seeing some Coyotes in the Broncos now. And they barely fit. That engine is huge. Yeah. That engine is huge.
But they're transplanting everything. I mean, it's full. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess that, like I say, the challenge is just to keep up with, as soon as somebody says, "Why aren't you doing the 20 stuff?" Well, then you're turned on to that. Yep. So it's a constant thing.
Well, it's kind of a race to keep up with, what your customer wants, and that's a never ending, because every year something new is going to come out, right?
Well, and the other thing that we try to do, and I think this is what's kept some of the huge aftermarket companies out of it, is because, like I say, it is so specialized and such a niche. There's probably 90% of our harness designs we'll build after the customer orders it. Oh. It's not, we'll put some base designs on the shelf, but a lot of it it's built after we've talked to a guy, and we have an order sheet that's probably 20 questions that you ask the guy.
Wow.
And then it's built to suit. And not only that, but I know you guys being in the industry have seen this transformation of all the companies. How many fans are going to be controlled by the computer? Does the guy have the original oxygen sensors? There's just a lot of questions to be answered.
Do you have a showroom, or is it warehouse kind of driven, or is it all online or over the phone kind of thing?
We don't have a warehouse per se. It's
still in your house.
No,
still in the basement.
No, we're a little more uptown now. It's in a building. We don't have a lot of walk-in. We don't do service work there per se. It's the manufacturing's in-house, but we're in Michigan. Our tech guy actually moved to Arizona, and through the wonders of technology, he does all the programming of computers and tech work from there.
Wow.
No, we're mainly manufacturing and everything else in-house as far as that goes. And our advertising agency, Leslie, who you were dealing with, Martin and Company,
yes.
they do all of our ad stuff. That's really the bulk of it.
That's amazing. I love to get the inner workings of how companies work, and I do have. So you guys are outside of Detroit, if right?
We're in a town named Marine City, which is most people don't know that. They know Port Huron. We're close to Port Huron. We're about 45 miles north of Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's I hesitate asking this because we're talking about fuel injection, but electric vehicles. Do you guys have plans on stepping on that pile of stuff?
Well, I don't know your guys' feelings on electric vehicles, but we could probably do a show on that.
Probably so.
We have done a little bit of work for a couple companies in California that approached us to do some wiring. We didn't do much, but some wiring. They were doing some actually Volkswagen buses, believe it or not.
Oh,
switching them over to electric. I don't know that I'm excited with what may or may not be there as far as the transplant world. But I personally think that it's, and I know everybody's, I know at SEMA there, I wasn't at SEMA, but I talked to a lot of people, and of course they kind of have to go in that direction a little bit and showcase it. But, I'm not pursuing anything in that area right now. And I'm kind of hoping it dies a slow death, maybe with the change of administrations. But that's kind of where I'm at on it.
I mean, you got to look at it this way. You guys, a lot of your bread and butter is harnesses. So everything's going to eventually need a harness one way or another. So it sounds to me you're in a very safe market of building harnesses. You just might have to change your application.
Well, I would agree. And if that's what happens, we'll certainly be willing to do that.
Yeah.
But I personally thought the hybrids made a lot of sense, and have the manufacturers offer a couple hybrids to people and say, if you want this, fine. But the push and the aggressiveness of that right now, it just baffles me.
Yeah, so for me, walking SEMA the past couple of years, the transplants of like a Shelby that is all electric, I'm blown away by it. But I'm not going to go out and buy it. I wouldn't buy a Shelby because it's a Shelby, right?
Fire breathing, real, mash the pedal to the floor.
If I'm going to buy a Mustang Mach 1,
it's going to rumble when I step on that pedal.
But I'm still enthralled by it. the instant torque and all the things that come along with it, but there's something about that car culture. When I mash the gas pedal, I hear and feel
Yeah.
the vibrations,
We've got a 2004 Jeep that we put a 5.3 truck engine in. And we left the manual. And in fact, my kids, they were all keen on that being a good kid vehicle. I said, that's by far not a good kid vehicle.
No way.
No.
The amount of rubber you would have to replace on that.
I'm 28 years old, and I know that's not a good vehicle for me.
But it's a beast. We left the manual in it. We left we put an exhaust on that's really not real friendly. It just snarls, and it's just a blast. But
so you get bag gears and keep on going.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's one of our test vehicles. We really wanted to put it in. We put a 2003 5.3 in it, and it's just a blast. And so the visual that you get from that, I totally agree with you. Electric vehicle, it's just not gonna deliver that.
Not in the same way.
See, he's making more of the case that I need to put a V8 in my JK.
Yeah, it's just another engine for you to blow up.
Yep. No, these are harder to blow up.
These are bulletproof.
You haven't met me in person yet.
Well, Matt, what do you want our listeners to know? Where can they find you? Where can they learn all the good stuff? Is there anything that they need to know right now?
I would say, the website, or give us a call. I would say in the Jeep world, I'm assuming most of your audience, they're Jeepers. I would say don't be afraid to, fuel inject that. If you're leaving the current engine in an older Jeep, don't be afraid to fuel inject it. It's usually a huge improvement of your enjoyment of that vehicle. That's what we hear. I mean, we hear from the guys, hey, my fuel mileage is better. I live in an area, it's altitude compensating. I can drive on any angle. I think also what helped us in the Jeep market so much was, you'd have a guy call up and he said, hey, I got a 75 Z28. Yeah, I might like to go to fuel injection, but I just want to talk to you about it right now. Convince me. Why should I? And there was, in the early days, there was a lot of talk, and the guys, they were scared of it. I mean, you talk to these guys who were around carburetors all their life, and they were not keen to it at all. I mean, you're going to have to show them what was going to be better. But one thing we noticed when we got in the Jeep market, the guys called up and they wanted it because they needed it, and they knew they needed it. It's like, hey, I was just out, wheeling with my buddies, and I can't, this thing won't keep running on an angle. We were up at 10,000 feet. This thing won't run. That it's not a matter. They didn't want to talk about it. They wanted it. So they wanted to fix a problem. So I would say the guys with the older motors, don't be afraid, to put it on. It's usually a great improvement. And if you want to do a transplant of a GM engine, then that shouldn't scare you either. I mean, we can help you on both fronts.
Awesome. Well, that's good to know. And Matt, I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us and bringing, I know that Billy, as soon as he was digging in, his eyeballs popped out of his head. This is right up his alley.
Yeah. Wow.
And
because I have two vehicles sitting in my driveway that I want to put V8s in.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're the perfect demographic right there.
100%.
Young, dumb, V8, lead foot. Oh, what else do I need?
What else? Perfect. That short wheelbase, I mean, you'll scare yourself to death.
Oh no, I got long wheelbases. My buggy's at 120 inches, and
these are buggies.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking Jeeps, but okay, buggies. Yeah.
But,
yeah.
They at one time in their life, both
at one time it was 96 inches.
Yeah.
Now it's at 120.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fun. So Howell HOWELL EFI.com.
Yeah.
Or their phone number, 1-800-765-5100.
And talk to that real person.
And talk to the real person in the
Yep.
United States sitting in Detroit or Arizona.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, close to
Yep.
Detroit.
Yep. You're going to get a real person
That knows something.
Yeah, apparently.
that knows something.
Well, Matt, I appreciate your time. You've been awesome, and I'm finally glad that we got to put all this together.
Yeah.
Well, I am too, and it's a pleasure being on with you guys. And time flew by, so I hope the listeners enjoyed it. And yeah, I really appreciate it.
That'll be great. We'll have you on again sometime. It'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd be more than willing.
All right. Thanks, Matt. I'll
Okay,
talk to you later.
Thank you. All right, guys.
All
Take
right.
care.
Bye.
Bye now.
Well, I'm definitely going to be giving that phone number a call and trying to figure out how I can put some big old dumb horsepower in my Jeep.
Ooh.
And it doesn't stop. I mean, I'm going through their website, and it is LS, GM, LT, TBI, TPI, Vortec.
Yeah.
I mean, like, these are the tried, true, proven motors of America.
Yeah.
Like, mash the pedal to the floor, let the rev limiter sing, and you keep going.
Yeah.
And they got harnesses that can keep up with everything.
It's crazy. Yeah. It was awesome to talk to him, and I'm glad you were able to kind of translate things for me, because big dumb dude over here. All right, well, let's kick off this show from the beginning. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast. We're that podcast that's proudly presented by Armorlight, the toughest flooring on the trail. And, man, do they mean it.
I washed mine this week.
Oh, did you?
First time in like 6 months.
How'd that go? Looks brand new, doesn't it?
Brand new, right again. Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, like, and we can't make it up. Like, I got some photos on my phone.
Yeah.
I'll show them to you.
So our thanks to them. But our listeners get a exclusive Armorlight discount of 10%. Jeep Life Podcast 10 for a complete Armorlight system at goarmorlight.com. Our thanks to them for presenting the Jeep Life Podcast. As a way of introduction, I'm Jeep and Terry. That's my co-host, Break It Bill.
I'm usually breaking something. And if I'm not breaking it, I'm fixing it.
No doubt. This is our busy time of the year for both of us.
I got projects going on in the garage. I
saw
got
that.
projects outside the garage. Carting one in, carting one out. I mean, it's just nonstop, man.
It is. It is tonight's episode brought to us by our friends
Sam Adams Summer Ditch Days.
Oh,
I mean, I just wish I had this closer to. Well, it was actually kind of nice out today.
it was. Every time I walked outside, I was shocked
warm,
that it was as warm as it was. Yeah,
but raining,
and
but
gross. It
not
looked like it was going to
cold
snow.
and damp.
But
It was muggy.
yeah, it was weird.
It's odd.
But yeah, I haven't done anything really Jeep related. I was off last weekend, as everybody knows. I haven't put out last week's episode yet.
Yeah.
Where you and Don,
I know, we took over.
you took over,
And nobody's witnessed it yet.
Well,
Except for the people that listen live. So
Yeah,
that gives you an excuse to listen to us every Sunday from 7:30-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time on to witness the full debauchery that goes on this podcast live, because there's always usually a good section.
yeah.
Something happens. Somebody trips over their words.
Something goes awry.
Guaranteed.
Guarantee it. Speaking of going awry, our newest segment, Jeep Life 101.
It didn't go awry last week. We did it.
Oh, did you?
Yes, we
That's
did.
awesome.
Damn it!
Well, you notice I wasn't able to check it out, but I will. I've got the memory card right down here.
Memory
I'm gonna
card's
take it
in
with
there,
me.
but I remembered.
Did
I
good
kept
for you.
this show together, and
You were the glue.
you
you're
are going to be
literally-
shocked. It is a damn good show, and I'm kind of mad that you guys out there haven't listened to it yet. But I can guarantee it's coming up soon.
We'll get it out there.
Well, it's included in the season 4, which
Yes.
means that
Yes.
next, we got like 3
Three-
episodes
yeah.
left.
Yeah, if that.
Less than that.
Yeah.
So this is one of the last 3 episodes that is a full debauchery.
Yeah. We'll have to do something fun
Yep.
for the season finale.
Has to be.
But for Jeep Life 101, I kind of reached into the encyclopedia here
The archives.
and came up with a word.
A word. Okay.
Articulation.
Articulation. So we're bringing it back to the vocabulary of Jeep life.
That is it. So why is articulation important?
Well, what's the difference between articulation and flex?
I wouldn't say there's a lot.
I think there is.
Do you?
Yes.
I would think the articulation is how much flex you have.
Correct, but articulation is the amount of flex you have with keeping proper traction on rocks that your tires are planted
Right. So
on.
that's the point
Right.
with articulation is being able to keep all 4 tires on the ground.
On the
or-
ground with enough traction to drive you forward.
Right.
Flex, anybody could have a lot of flex. You can get out and flex your muscles and be like,
I flex them every day.
Wachow. I got big muscles.
But that's the key is being able to do more,
Right.
and keep all 4 tires on the ground for traction.
Yep.
Right. When you first go and buy your Jeep off the showroom floor,
Yep.
you have a decent amount of articulation as it is.
Mm-hmm.
In the real world, it's not a lot.
No.
So what are some good steps to increase that articulation?
Disconnecting your front sway bar links.
First and foremost.
It's going to give you a lot more articulation
Yeah.
out of the front of that Jeep.
Yeah. And that's
so-
where you need it.
Yep, it really does. It improves your ride.
Yep.
Also, this is an interesting one, but lowering your tire pressure, deflating, it doesn't necessarily give you more flex, but it does give you a little more traction and enables your tires to move
Yes.
as you're at those higher angles.
And they don't need as much weight on them to still maintain that traction.
Correct.
And so that does increase that articulation
does.
point, right? Having a lift.
A lift is a huge increase of articulation.
Well, it enables you to have bigger tires
Yep.
under there, which will automatically by default give you more articulation.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we're saying articulation too much.
And what's the word right there? It says it on the show notes.
I
Articulation.
don't have the show notes up. I'm watching us.
Well, we're a good-looking bunch, right?
I wouldn't go that far.
Is there anything else that can help with that articulation?
Well, some anti-rock sway bar links. There's some anti-rock sway bars.
Yeah.
Increases your contact patches and also keeps your tires on the ground and keeps the body more level to your axles, which is a good thing, but also it keeps pressure on those tires in odd situations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause sometimes odd situations, they arise.
Mm-hmm.
They come up.
Quickly.
That's why they're called odd.
Odd. Not even.
What about fender flare, changing that out? And
They just pop off anyway.
that's true.
They pop out of the way.
But, changing that out and inner fender liners
Yes.
can give increased articulation,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, there are some other interesting ways to increase your articulation is making sure that you have proper clearances underneath your vehicle and your control arms, the travel of the control arms, your drive shaft. Putting an aftermarket drive shaft on will give you more down travel out of the driver side, most likely driver side of your vehicle, so your drive shaft doesn't come in contact with your exhaust or cross members that are in front of
Right.
your transfer case. I would have to also say sometimes your bump stops helps from over flexing your tire or axle up into the wheel well,
right? Because you don't want to make contact. Yep.
Yeah. Shock length.
Oh yeah.
Making sure that your shocks are the proper length versus not, if you're just putting some shock extensions on the bottom of your lift kit, that's not necessarily increasing the overall performance or length of that shock. It's just it's just moving your contact point further up.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really give you more travel.
Right. Right. So make sure you get the right shock for the length of your springs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's I love that we edutain people. We're in the business because this segment is really for the people who are just jumping on for the first time and maybe are new to the Jeep world. We want to help you out too. We got shop stuff.
We have a shop.
We have a shop.
We have another shop.
We do.
We have 2 shops.
We do have 2. We have more than that.
We have 3 shops.
Yeah. But we can only do one at a time. That's all I'm doing.
One at a time.
Yep. We're putting it on the burner. So if you've sent it in and you don't see it now, it's coming.
Hello, Jeep Life Podcast. Long-time listener and few times emailer. So my shop is a work in progress, built 2 years ago, 30-foot wide by 32-foot deep garage, kind of a slow process. Yeah, we all get that. Only person that could drive a car into a garage, have it sit for 5 years, and still never drive it out. I've been doing most of my work myself, wiring everything. I even threw a 220 outlet for a welder. High five on that one. Insulating everything. Double high five on that.
Yeah. Easy for you to say. They're in the process of priming and painting the walls, ceiling, and the free-to-me cabinets. I even went as far to dig in the gas line and hang a heater in the garage. So right now I do have the photo up of said heater, and real importantly, there's a fridge in there. So here are a few pictures to show it off. There's even a sticker-bombed shop fridge that would be nice to add a sticker or two to it. So
he started talking about 220 outlets for welders, and I just lost my breath. Truly.
But Dave, I got your address. Stickers are heading your way.
I think there might be a Break It Billy sticker in there too.
Oh, sweet. I need some of that in my life.
What you have Break It Billy stickers.
Oh. But it makes me happy.
You have them.
I know, I need more.
But
anyway,
I'm going to throw out my shameless plug right here.
Yep.
And if you are looking for a Break It Billy sticker for your Christmas holiday, please send me a message through Jeep Life Podcast or through email or through my Instagram, Facebook. Break It Billy. They're a pretty sweet sticker, if I may say myself.
They are pretty sweet.
Toot my own horn a little bit right here. And also, hats and shirts are coming soon.
Ooh. Even better.
Some pretty badass hats.
So we need to, as the Jeep Life Podcast, our merchandise store has
diminished,
dropped off the face of the planet.
It has.
So we need
we are working on a new merch store for you guys to support the Jeep Life Podcast in any small possible way you can.
We love it. I know coming up in just a few minutes, we have Matt Howell from Howell EFI.
It's going to be a great interview, let me tell you.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun.
And Howell EFI they're all about transplants.
Yes.
And we're not talking about heart. Well, we are talking about
heart
transplants.
Some heart transplant right now.
But taking something old and making it new, and we're not talking about taking an old motor and making it new, but we're talking about putting some new motors, maybe some old stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And bringing maybe some older motors and bringing them up to the newer age.
Yeah. Yeah.
So stay tuned for that later in
Excellent.
the show. Hey, we have events.
Do we?
I don't know.
I
It's the end of the year, man.
Right. Yeah, let's get to the end of the year, and come in January, we're gonna list all the stuff that we're
Yes.
gonna.
Some of the big events that we're looking forward to next year, though,
Yeah.
is Easter Jeep Safari.
Yes. A
A
lot of East Coast shows.
lot of East Coast shows. We're going to be at Oversand Overland
Yes.
Extravaganza on the beach in Wildwood, New Jersey.
That's gonna be a
Put on
lot
by
of fun.
Blinker Fluid Production. So we will have our own campsite and camp booth and whatever other situation going on down
Yep.
there.
Yep.
New Jersey Jeep Invasion, Pigeon Forge,
Yep.
again,
Great Smoky Mountain.
Great Smoky Mountain. We're gonna be down. I heard there's a possibility of Daytona.
G Beach. That'd be fun. In April.
Possibility. Who
That'd be
knows?
fun. Who knows? I mean, the world is our oyster right now.
And we're gonna crack it open
We're gonna do our best.
because we're like that.
Yep.
We should try to.
Do we have an expert level this week?
Expert level. All right. I'm going to throw it over to one of our partners because when you take your Jeep off-road, what do you have to do?
You have to clean it.
No, you got to deflate the tires.
Oh, you do have to deflate the tires.
And one of the best
You
ways
gotta
to
reinflate-
reinflate your
Yeah.
tires is with liquid CO2.
I love it.
Because when liquid CO2 goes through a gaseous change, it expands about 400 times its molecular size.
Yes.
And that means you get a lot of pressure really quickly.
Yep.
So our friends over at Power Tank allow you to store a whole lot of liquid CO2
Yep.
at a liquid state, and you can reinflate your tires super fast.
I just filled my tank up.
Freaking
last week.
Finally.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh. You need to get on that more often.
I do.
Yeah.
And right now they're offering a discount code for our
They
listeners.
are.
15% off of a full system. Jeep Life 15.
Great for that special someone during the Christmas holiday.
Yep. Me, I want a 15-pound tank or a 20-pound tank.
I want 220 pounds.
I love it. All right, so where can people find us?
Well, I want everyone to head over to the Googles and show one of your friends, because it doesn't matter if you already found us, you need to tell a buddy.
That's right. Tell
So,
everybody you can.
we are on the Apples, the Spotifys, the Pandoras, the YouTubes, the Facebooks,
Everywhere.
the Books of the Faces, the Tubes of the U's, the MySpace, the Instagrams, the Threads. We're on everything.
We're not on Threads.
Yet. I'm on Threads.
Are you?
Yeah.
I haven't taken that plunge.
I took it. It's a bad idea, though.
Right. Anyway, hey, everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. That interview with Matt was awesome, and I appreciate that. Thanks for him coming on, and go right now and drop a new engine in your old Jeep. And
I'm about to.
yeah, do it.
GM, LS, LT, anything you want, they have the solutions. Harnesses,
Oh, yeah. And they know it.
they know it.
They know
Call them. That's the other thing, is like what you see on their website isn't half the knowledge that they have.
No.
So pick up the phone, talk to somebody in Michigan or talk to somebody in Arizona. They're going to build that harness for you, complete custom, or set up your Jeep, 4.2s, 4.6s, inline 4.0s, 305s, 402s, 350s. They have it down pat.
Well, you just threw out a lot of numbers, and I went, I don't know.
They're all cubic inches.
Okay. All right, for Break It Billy, I'm Jeep and Terry. Here's a big Jeep wave to you, everybody. All right, thanks for hanging out with us. Sorry about the technical difficulties
Yeah.
early on, but we still got a great show out of it. Thanks, everybody.
So you have
Two
two
shows
episodes
to edit.
on that. Actually, 3. The third episode is still on that one.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot that's still on here because I don't delete them until I know that I've had them on.
For a while.
Yeah.
That was good. Worked out well. Right? You think?
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
I didn't go to the Christmas party last night.
Oh,
Quad party?
quad party?
No.